What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is Bull Season 3, Episode 9, Separation. Doing so good. We were doing so good. The season was actually pretty enjoyable. There are a few iffy cases here and there, but for the most part, it was pretty good. And then we hit this case. Oh, my God. First of all, Danny and Gabriel, not that interesting of a couple. Again, the way they met was weird. He was a little bit weird. And they're treating it like it's some great romance. They're like, guys, Danny's losing Gabriel. It's sad. Like, it's not that sad. How long has she known him? A few months? That's not that sad. And they're treating it like some huge romance. Like, the stuff he says to her, really weird when you think about the fact that they've known each other for only a few months, and they've been dating for probably even less. Definitely for less. So, you don't typically tell a girl that you've just started dating, I just want to look at you so I can lock in your face and your smell. It's like, that's weird. That's weird. If this is something they've been dating for so many years, it's like, okay, that's kind of sweet, it's a sweet line. But you just started dating. Come on. And on top of that, it's every cliche, oh, immigration is bad story ever. And the fact of the matter is, it's so disrespectful to the people who have lost family members or lost friends to people who are in this country illegally and they're criminals. Because guess what? Not every illegal alien is a Gabriel. Hate to tell you, I know you want to live in this idealized world where, guys, let's just let everybody in. That the thing is, like, they were showing both sides. They were showing, like, well, Gabriel's a good guy, but then they were also showing the judge's side, which he did kind of come off a little bit as a dick, but at the same time, they were making good points. Like, look, you've been here for how long and you haven't gotten a visa yet? Like, sure, you got tricked when you came in, but you've had time since then to work on getting all of your papers done. It's not like you've just been sitting around and trying and then they're rejecting it. That's honestly a good point. So they're showing both sides of it, but then at the end, they just send them off with this guy that they've been helping on his other case, and he's like, "Oh, we're gonna take you to Frankfurt. Don't worry, they're an enlightened city." It's like these Americans are so unenlightened. They think letting people from other countries just walk in with no rules or anything like that. That's not enlightened, guys. We should just welcome everybody in. Because hey, that's what that's what they did at Troy, right? They welcomed that horse in, and look what happened. Hello. So yeah, It's not only the fact that I'm not a big fan of Danny and Gabriel. It's not only the fact that they show one side of the argument again, very much like the one episode about police brutality. Like those two things were already frustrating, but it's also the fact that what was the point of this entire episode? They spent so much time trying to work on his case to just send him off to Germany. I'm just like, honestly, when they were going to get married, I thought that was going to be the story. It's like, okay, well, they get a marriage license, then they get a marriage visa, and then he could stay. Because that's one of the things you can do. But then they don't even do that. They just send him off to Germany. And then they throw in the enlightened line, and honestly, I'm just like, what, was this all just to take a political shot at America for not welcoming in people with open arms? Like, is that what the whole point of this episode was? Because if so, again, you're preaching to half the audience. Because the other half, guess what? They disagree with you. Sorry to say. But there are a lot of people who think just like the judge. Look, you're breaking the law. You've had time to do this. And we can't just welcome everybody in. Some people are criminals. Not everybody is heart of gold, heart surgeon. Did I say heart of gold? Heart of gold, heart surgeon like Gabriel. He's just trying to get away so he doesn't die, guys. Isn't that sad? Yeah, that's sad. He can still come over here legally and get a visa, find a way to become a citizen. Like, that's possible. And it's what's really funny is you talk to a lot of immigrants that are here legally, they'll tell you, yeah, illegal immigrants, no. Like, they agree with the immigration laws because they had to go through a process, and they've probably seen people coming over from their country that are criminals and getting away with it. I don't know. I don't want to get into a huge political thing on here because that's not the point of this. The point is to review the show, but problem is that they show, when they do talk political, when they do show one side of a political argument, I feel like I need to say something about it because, well, you're just talking the other side, you know? And it's like, you're not giving the people who disagree with you the chance to speak. You're like, well, we're the TV show here, so we're just going to show our side, and you just have to accept it. This is what it's like, guys. Shame on you if you think this is wrong. Ugh. I really, really, really hate it when shows get political like this for no reason other than to just, shame on you. It's really annoying. The other case wasn't really that interesting because they didn't want to focus on it really. Like, honestly, when they opened up with it, I was like, okay, that's going to be kind of interesting to see how the guy, he has to show that, hey, I want this really expensive painting, but it's not for money. It's because that's my ex-wife, and I miss her. She's dead now. Like, that is kind of an interesting case, and it would be interesting to see, like, both sides of it and try to figure out, how is the team going to tackle this to show, look, this guy is a true romantic. It's not about the money for him. But then they just sort of sideline it to talk about Gabriel's story, and that was the majority of the episode. And ultimately, their whole story was, oh, well, I'm just doing this, because of that. And then his sister gets up there, and then they point out, well, the sister gets the painting in his will, and then they find out that apparently the wife wanted him to get the painting or something like that. I'm just like, I don't care. You don't care about this case, clearly. This is just an ends to a means. Because ultimately that's the whole reason he was in this episode, is at the end he can help Gabriel out. So I don't care about the case anymore. So again, it was going well. The season was going well. It was enjoyable. There were some good episodes. There were a couple wonky moments, but for the most part, it was enjoyable. I was enjoying myself. And then you just get to the super preachy, super boring episode. I'm done. Obviously, if this is the only one that's like this, then sure, we won't have a problem. But, I mean, good God. If there are multiple like this, I'm definitely going to start feeling like, what are we doing here? What happened to the good stuff at the beginning of the season? Anyways, with all that being said, that's it for this episode. On to the next one. See you there. Now, episode 10, A Higher Law. A little bit better. To be perfectly honest, anything would be better than the last episode. But overall, fairly interesting case. You got kid hit and run, and then guy goes and confesses to a priest, and then he drives the truck while under the influence, trying to find out if the girl's okay. And so he ends up getting caught while drunk driving. And so, of course, everybody just assumes it's him, and he won't talk about it. He says it's because, he confessed to me, so obviously I can't say. But then, of course, they use that as he just won't talk about it because he did it. So overall, not really much to talk about in this one. I will say I am a Christian. I have been since birth. But there's also that line that you just kind of wonder, where do you draw the line? As far as priests are concerned, where do you draw the line? Like, if a serial killer comes up to you in a confession booth and says, hey, I've murdered 20 people, nobody knows about it, they're all in my basement, all these missing people, do you really just sit there and go, oh, well, I can't say anything, he confessed to me? I really want to know what the line is, because I feel like there's got to be a line. In this case, I feel like he was more doing it, I know he says it was because of the confessional seal, but I do kind of wonder how much of it was also for the kid's sake, because he saw this kid has a bright future. This is a one-time mistake. Yes, it's an awful mistake, but he didn't want to ruin this kid's future because he was just, had a slip of mind and did something awful. Sorry, a lot of sinus stuff. So I do kind of wonder though, like, would you really, as a priest, and I'm not Catholic, so I don't know much about that type of stuff, but would they really defend a serial killer if they confessed? Not defend them, but would they really say, look, I can't say anything about it? I don't know what the line is. I really am curious, Because on the one hand, yes, there's the confessional seal, and I know that's what they believe, and don't get me wrong, I totally get that. But also, I mean, is it part of being a Christian, helping other people and loving other people and caring about other people? And wouldn't that love and care for other people make you go, you know what? This is a scenario where people need to know their loved ones are going missing because somebody's killing them, and he might do it again. So, I don't know. Just a little tidbit that kind of popped in my mind throughout this episode. But yeah, overall, I mean, not a bad episode. Just pretty typical, especially whenever you've got a character like Bull as kind of your lead main character. You do have these episodes where all of a sudden religion will be brought up, and he's a bit more of a logical thinker. Not somebody that completely just, atheist or anything like that, but also not really a church-going type of person. So it always is kind of interesting to me to see how shows are going to tackle faith and religion in a show based on something like trial science. And they did okay, nothing too spectacular, nothing crazy wrong with it either. It was okay. Yeah. So all in all, decent episode, but still not quite what I was enjoying from the first few episodes. So, but that's it for this one. On to the next one. See you there. And now episode 11, Separate Together. So, full disclosure, I've been actually working on writing a film. It's the first one that I've written all by myself, because I did co-write a short film recently. So yeah, I've been working on it now for about 2 weeks, and no lie, the title of it is Separated Together. So when I saw this title, I was like, oh no, I hope they don't think that I'm ripping this off, because I literally came up with that title before I even got to this. So anyways, just a little tidbit. But no, this one, pretty good episode. Didn't really mind a lot of the stuff with Bull and Diana. I kind of like what they were doing with it. The problem is the case. From an audience perspective, it's hard to really watch this, and I don't know. It's because the thing is, watching it, my first thought is, okay, so is this guy, this older guy, is he going to be involved, or is this going to be somebody they suspect because she told him all this stuff, but then it turns out that actually her new husband ends up being the right guy, something along those lines. But very early on, they made it very clear that Claire didn't even think about this older guy, at all. And I don't know, yeah, I guess in the moment, I guess it may not come to you, but the longer she thought about it, honestly, when they brought up did you ever say it out loud? And she said, yes, I did once. I honestly thought that was going to be the moment where she's like, oh, wait, that old guy heard a lot of what I was saying. What if he remembered the combination? But instead, they didn't do that. And then Randy starts looking more suspicious. And then, of course, they start separating them more. And I don't know, it didn't... The problem is it didn't feel realistic because it felt more like the screenwriters put this problem in here. They made Claire so forgetful that she didn't remember that there was this guy sitting right next to her that clearly heard her whole conversation. They made her forget all of that and made Randy look so suspicious. It's one of those things, it was like Deus Ex Machina in reverse. It was like so many coincidental things that make him look so suspicious to the point where now they're having issues, which of course Bull and Diana were also having issues at the same time. So it was like they're trying to, it was like, if in case you didn't catch the fact that Bull and Diana are a little separate right now, let's also separate their clients to show that even further. I don't know, it felt like unnecessary drama where I felt like they could have told a more interesting story instead of just causing this whole lovers quarrel, and all of a sudden he looks suspicious and he was over at his ex's house the night of the crime, and oh, she just happens to be the same height as the client. What a coincidence. I don't know, it was way too coincidental. And again, from an audience perspective, I instantly suspected the old guy, but Claire didn't even think about him until they realized, wait a minute, I might have left my hat on the plane. And wasn't there that guy sitting next to you? He heard everything, didn't he? Oh my gosh, it was him! Like, yeah, I know, you wouldn't just highlight that guy at the beginning and then not talk about him again for the rest of the episode. Like, if they hadn't highlighted him, I might have been a little bit more like, oh, what if it was somebody sitting next to them? But instead, they didn't do that. So, honestly, the best twist that could have come out of that is if it turned out to be the husband after all of that. Like, they make it look like this one older guy is so suspicious, and then finally they catch him, and it's like, oh, it had to be him, right? He's the only other person it could have been. But then it turns out the husband actually was responsible. It's like, oh, snap. But anyways, that's a problem whenever sometimes it's hard to suspend your disbelief whenever it's a more realistic show. You want to try to suspend that disbelief to make yourself think, okay, just try not to think about it too logically, try not to use too much rationale. But this is one where, rationally speaking, I would have suspected the old guy if I were in her shoes. I would have thought about it and said, you know what? He heard me he heard me talking about how my boss was going to get me a ring. He heard me talking about the fact that we're engaged, you know. He heard all of that. He could have heard the safe combination too. I know it's kind of like, well, yeah, but he seemed like a nice old guy. Why would he do that? Well, yeah, but that would be more of a logical leap than suspecting this person that you love. And I know the fact that they apparently just happened to get married while they were over in Thailand. Like, I assume that they probably knew each other longer than just a few weeks, I hope. I don't know. Anyways, but yeah, all in all, it was still a decent episode. I liked Bull going to his heart doctor and getting a little bit of a psychological lesson from him. And then, you know, maybe we'll see more with Bull and Diana. I don't know. They've kind of been an off and on thing for a while. So they might end up becoming more of a consistent thing going forward. Who knows for sure. They seem to do okay for the most part. There's something about her that I just don't really, something doesn't really grip me about her yet. Like, she's still just kind of there. It might be the fact that they kind of just use her to, you know, cause issues with Bull so far. Like, she's more of a tool than a character at the moment. So who knows? Maybe they might start making her a better character going forward. But for right now, it's just kind of, she's there. But anyways, that's it for this episode. On to the last of these four. See you there. And finally, episode 12, Split Hairs. This was definitely the best of the bunch, and only because the case itself was pretty intriguing, just to see, you know, this doctor deal with the fact that what if she got it wrong, but she's never wrong. And honestly, like, I don't know, she was a little grating at one point, like, around the middle of the episode, whenever she was just constantly being like, no, I don't make mistakes, just, I would never do this. And I don't know, she was almost a little ignorant of her situation and what it looked like. And she's very clearly very smart. But with that smartness also comes the problem of, like, yes, I get she's stubborn, but she should be smart enough to realize the situation she's in. And so that one moment whenever Benny and Bull were talking to her and telling her, look, here's the thing, you erase this thing. Yes, we know why you did it, but to the jury, this is what it looks like. And she's just completely ignorant. And she's like, no, but that's not why. It's completely useless. Why would they care about it in the first place? It's like, look, you're smart. Okay? You're very clearly a smart person, which means you should understand this concept. But they wanted to have it both ways. They wanted to make her super smart, but also not smart enough to realize her own situation. You know, that's a problem for me. But that was about the only issue I had. The rest of it was pretty well done. I like the scene between her and Chunk, because in all reality, like, it really led to a good scene whenever she was in court. And yeah, she did kind of lean into the whole fact that, scientifically speaking, like, she knows she can't make a mistake. And yes, it does look very bad for her to constantly say, like, I don't care that it looks bad. I don't care that I don't like other people around. That's just me. But that kind of helped her case because, like Bull was saying, she's so certain of herself that she would not lie in court to make herself look less guilty. I've been doing so good about making sure that that's been muted. And then the one time that I forget to mute it out of these 4 episodes is the one time that a notification actually pops up. What do you know? Anyways, but But yeah, like it was a good scene though, because I like the fact that they leaned into it a bit more. And then of course the fact that the DA turned out to be the one who paid off somebody to tamper with the, because that was kind of the other thing. It's like, well, who could have done this? Who could have faked this evidence? And I will admit, I wish that this guy Malford was more involved, because aside from that one time they went to see him, he wasn't really involved in the case at all. He was just sort of there. And of course, we saw him at the beginning. We saw him doing what he does, which of course it was kind of weird. Like, did he have help? Because that one guy looked like he might have just been coming out of the restaurant. I don't know. He could have just been cleaning it, but it looked like he like was almost in on it with the guy. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm just thinking too hard. But yeah, we did see him at the beginning committing the one of his crimes, and then that ended up being the girl that was found with the evidence in her that was able to convict him. But I don't know. I just wish we could have seen a bit more of him, because he seemed like he was going to be an interesting character to go up against, you know, and they might even like have him testify at some point. But ultimately, you know, it was all about the doctor. And I get that's kind of, it makes sense in the idea of what the court case went through, you know, because it was all about her. It was all about her evidence. But I was really hoping that he was going to be involved a bit more than he was, because he seemed like he could have been an interesting character. But yeah, it's okay. But yeah, all in all, I mean, it was a good case, which is unfortunate because that made it the best case out of the four, because these first two were just not that great. You know, a little The first one definitely wasn't good. The last one, the Separate Together, was a bit better. Still had some grating moments, and then this one, it was good, but it still had those couple moments where it just kind of grated on my nerves a little bit. So taking a little bit of a downturn so far. It started off well, and now it's kind of getting more and more just not great, not enjoyable. So I hope they can pick it back up, because I really do want to see the show. I want to see it be good, you know, because that's the thing. I talked about at the beginning of this season how this show is kind of one that it's not anything fantastic, but it's enjoyable. And then they had a couple episodes that were really good, and I was like, okay, you proved me wrong. But now it feels like it's gone back into kind of that CBS show mentality of like, we had some good episodes, but now we've had some bad episodes. And I hate that. You know, I hate it whenever a show has that potential to be something really, really good, and they just kind of slip back into a CBS formula. Because being perfectly honest, that's what CBS is. It's a channel that has a bunch of shows that are not really gripping, that are not really like, holy crap, like that was intense. You know, no Fargos, no Blacklist, no Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., no Gotham. You know, shows like that. Shows like NCIS or Criminal Minds, Bull. You know, these shows are not things that are going to grip your attention throughout an entire season like some other shows do. And so I was really hoping Bull was going to be a little bit different when it started off as good as it did. I was thinking, okay, maybe it's going to step up and maybe the season is going to be really good. But now it's turned back into just a CBS show, so a little disappointed. But with that being said, that's it for me. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on these 4 episodes? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Bull reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.